these clothes washed, and we inside. We is not outside at all. We inside. Get some snacks. If we going outside, it's to get some snacks. But we inside. And so I was just basking in my thoughts, and I'm just waiting to hear from the Lord. But just basking in his presence and his goodness and his forgiveness and his mercy and grace, right? And so me and a sister do Bible study, and we did Isaiah 41. And um let's see how I want to go with this. So like kind of to piggyback off of yesterday's live, when I was cooking, like, we can kind of feel bad and down about all of the things that we've been through, and feel like we keep and or always get the short end of the stick. Like, we can try to do something that's deemed successful, or try to have something that we feel is of substance, or something that could be nice to have, and it don't seem to go as well as others, and others that you feel like may not deserve what they get, right? um or it can or you can be like, well, why don't, like, good stuff or things happen for me? I work hard, or I try hard, I'm not a bad person, things, what have you, what have you. And a lot of times we don't be seeing behind the scenes and what the Lord is keeping us from. There's a lot of wickedness going on in the world. Um, and a lot of the land, north, east, south, and west, a lot of these things, a lot of the lands, north, east, south, and west, again, is filled with violence. It's filled with principles and principalities and spirits that are unclean and evil, and looking for open vessels to attach themselves to. And is the world is going to make it seem like there's such popular things, it's such a good thing, or you're jealous, or that you can't do this and you can't do that thing, and so on and so forth. But really, um the world is full of idolatry, and this is the main thing that keeps the Lord um handing out curses and turning his face from us, right? And so that way we're not blessed. And we think it's just, we got to hustle some more, we got to we got to bustle and hustle some more. But that gets us further away from God, because then we hustle and stuff like that, and in pursuit of the American dream. But then we're not there to raise our kids, we're not there to be in our house and steward our homes, we're not there to um guard our peace in our hearts and our minds, because we study in the world. And you go to work, you deal with people that's in the world, and they're hustling, bustling, and like, hey, you can do this to get this, and I seen this over here at this place, and I traveled there, and they got all of these things, and people bringing you back these reports and stuff of other places and things that they do and stuff like that. And so you taking on all of that. But God is a good God. Um, and we have to understand that He's chosen, He like knitted each and every last one of us um out of goodness and out of love, to where we each have a purpose. And a lot of times it's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, to where we want this big name, we want this big job, to get this big name so we can be puffed up in this vanity, right? He said, to whom much is given, much is required. Jesus had job of them all. His name is known, right? But he had to die. He had to die because of love. He was willing to die because of love to save other people that hated him. Um, and we're not willing to do that because we think of ourselves as being better than others. We think of the world and the things of the world is better than others, um, and not willing to um, um, live in the spirit more than we're living in the flesh. And so, me and a sister, we were in Isaiah, and I'm gonna just give you 10 through 15. No, 16. No, 17. I'm sorry. I'll do 18. I'm sorry. 10 through 18. So 8 verses. So, and this is Isaiah 41, verse 10. And it says, "Fear thou not." But this is, I feel like he's giving this to me when there's a shift. When you've been in the world and you're coming out of the world, right? You fighting for your life and not necessarily fighting to keep the life that you once knew, but you're dying to yourself to pick up Christ. Um, but you're in the world, but not of the world. And it's like 1 in 100. You're like 1 in 100, right? So everybody is talking about what they did this weekend and what designer that they picked up and what movie they saw and things like that. But you're wanting to be edified. You wanting to hear about Christ and the goodness of Christ, and you feeling in your spirit there's a shift, and that he's building you up for something, right? Um, and that's all he was doing when stuff wasn't going your way. He was building you up, he was putting you away, saving you, keeping you, and then for a time such as this, to where you're like, hey, okay, I'm letting the world go and I'm picking up Christ, right? But it's a struggle because you're 1 in 100. For real, truly, because a lot of it could be wolves in sheep's clothing. It could be a lot of people that say, hey, I'm a Christian, and hey, this, they got people out here calling themselves white witches. It's people out here that just say it because they're trying to get something. They want to connect with you, so they'll say that they're a Christian, or they just to get into your presence, to infiltrate what you got going on, and all of that stuff, cause confusion and all of that stuff. The enemy will send his minions, and he comes as a beacon of light, right? But back to this word, Isaiah 41:10. It says, "Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. I will help thee. Ye, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them, even them that contended with thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught. For I, the Lord thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. And what is that redeeming? Saving you, restoration, right? To from the worldly thinking of I'm less than, my identity, it must be something wrong with me to where I'm not fitting in. No, you right where he needs you to be, right? And the little bit of things that we picked up that was distorted, that we put on, He's taking that and he's redeeming it back to what he purposed us for. He's taking that and redeeming that. All of the rejection that we felt, all of the jackets of, my God, thank you. All of the jackets that was put on us as being less than or not worthy or um undeserving or must be lacking something. No, nope, nope, nope. He's gonna redeem us. And we shouldn't fear whatever goes on. He is God. And it says, the Holy One of Israel, behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. Thou shalt fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And thou shalt rejoice in the Lord, not ourselves, not ourselves. It's not us. And that's one thing too that the Lord got to get to us. The glory goes back to him. So when somebody says, "Oh, they're so strong, they're so beautiful, they're so smart, and um, they always in a good place, or they always make me feel, pick me up and stuff like that," it's the Lord. All glory be to God. It's it's the Lord. You don't know about him? Let me tell you about him. For real. And shout glory in the Holy One of Israel. Listen, when the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, the Lord, will hear them. Now listen to this. He took me back to Revelations. When we went over that, he took me back to Revelations. Revelations 3. Because we think um we think the Lord is talking about somebody other than us. What did it say? When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, the Lord, will hear them. Revelations 3:17. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. We be thinking, we saying that we rich and we we got increased with goods, that we good. But the Lord said, thou art, he said, and knoweth not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. And that's one thing that I was trying to say yesterday. People be taking these trips and, gotta have their pictures all up on the gram and posting all of this stuff. And they said, I'm outside and I'm taking trips and I'm on another flight. Come home and miserable. Come home to the same house that you left, to the same wretchedness. And I'm not trying to get on nobody. I'm just saying that's what it be. And the Lord he just gave me that, like, because he like the land that people be traveling, like the world is crooked and it's desolate and it's a famine everywhere and it's just a whole bunch of evil wickedness. Like, you can go out of the country and it's going to be the same thing. People partying, drinking, fornicating, idolatry is going to be the same thing in the same country that you're at. People trying to reject Christ and live their best life. It's the same thing. And God is like, if I send you to a different country, baby, you're gonna be equipped to handle them spirits and principalities, to not be caught up in a desolate place. And he says that He says, when the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, the Lord, will hear them. I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them. He said, I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water. And see, a lot of times people be thinking they got you in a chokehold, or people be thinking that they one upping you, or they bigger and badder than you, because you're subjecting yourself to Jesus Christ and becoming meek and lowly. It's not an easy thing to die to yourself, to die to your own pleasures, to die to your flesh. It's not an easy thing, because if you've been in the world long enough, you grow accustomed to it. Like Eve said, it looked to be desirable and to make one wise. So she wanted that thing. And when she tasted it of it, she said, oh, it's good. Here, husband, you have some. It's very good. But then there go to shame. Then there go to shame. Y'all know that y'all naked and a wretched, poor, hot mess. And you can't, there's not enough fig trees to cover up that shame. It's only by the blood of the Lamb. It's only by Christ being the Redeemer. Amen. Look at this. Because people be really out here thinking that they rich and they got goods and they doing something more than you, or they have a little bit of authority over you, and they feel like they're one upping you when you're subjecting yourself to Christ. You're picking up your cross and you're being about your Father's business, not necessarily the world's business. You're in the world, but not of it. You're about your Father's business. This is the last little point that I have. Took me back to Exodus 7, and how Moses, he didn't want to be up under Pharaoh no more. He saw how they was doing his brothers wrong. So he came up out of there, and the Lord visited him, because he was willing to get up out of the place that was comfortable, right? He was willing to get out of that comfortable state out there with Pharaoh, being the prince of Egypt, right? He was willing to come up from up out of that comfortable and suffer with his brothers so they can get to the promised land. And God said, see, God is a constant redeemer. He's a constant waymaker. He's a Jehovah Jireh. He's Jehovah Nisi, right? He's gonna go before you and give us power. He's always given us power and authority, and the enemy cannot stand it. The enemy cannot stand it, but it's only when we subject ourselves to him, to Christ, to the Lord, letting him be the Lord thy God of our lives, bowing the knee, bowing down to his authority, to his headship, and understanding he is the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega. When we get that power, it's only until we bow down to him, though. 7, Exodus 7. And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god, lowercase g, to Pharaoh. I have made you a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee. It's still up under his authority. It's still up under his headship. Right? In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. You're going to speak what I say, because that's where my authority is. That's where my power is. I am spirit. But he's always given us this authority. He's always given us this power to keep going, to keep in his strive. And it's going to look like it's gonna look like we're losing. It's gonna look like we're failing. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you failing. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you ain't doing nothing. But remember, he keeps bringing me back to, who was it? Uh, excuse me. My last point. Rahab. See, it is kind of like saying, who is she? She wasn't nothing but a harlot. But her and her family was saved by doing that one deed. And she said, I know who y'all are. And she said, just make sure you save my people. Make sure you save me and my household when y'all come and take the land. Please and thank you. But we always want these big jobs. We want these big jobs to get the glory. And see, the thing is she was just worried about her and her household being saved. Her and her household, not just her, but her and her household. Make sure y'all save me and my household. But she was a harlot, right? She was a harlot. But just by being where God need us to be, being able to hear God, but and that requires us to stay in his word, require us to stay in prayer. That's how we communicate with him, and actually sit in silence and listen and wait to hear from him. I'm working on that myself, but to sit in silence and actually wait to hear from him and not just have to move, because he says, be still and know that I am God. um we just have to keep considering that he is God, and he got this, and he goes before us, and he gives us authority and power. Like when we come up against stuff, or when our mind is being tormented, because the devil, he does not sleep. He does not sleep. He wants to keep us always distracted and always in a state of, I have to do something, I have to do something, or in a state of fear. But sometimes it's the little things. He said, what did he say? He said, I take the small things, the weak things, to shame the strong. But that's it. That's all. I'm not going to keep y'all too long. All glory be to God. Stay in the fight. God has already won. Stay in the fight. You do have power. You do have power and authority from God Almighty, Alpha and Omega. But you have to stay connected, and you have to stay um, at the feet of his throne. You cannot think of yourself as more than God. No, he's the source. He's the life. But that's it. That's all. Continue to pray for me. I'll continue to pray for y'all. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a good, safe weekend. Again, love you. See you later. Bye.